tragic accident. Like tragic accidents just happen all the time in Carroll County. I'm just saying. It's a very, very unlucky place to live. They dropped the charges because it was accidental. You don't accidentally run over somebody and back up and try to do it again. Let's start from the beginning as investigative reporters, right? So you would ask the questions who, what, where, when, and why. Should be easy, right? Of course it is. Yes, I know, you're innocent until proven guilty, but what good does that do you if you are not alive? Well, hello, my silky, spicy, hot tea loving friends. Yeah, I hope you're ready for some hot tea. And, I just did some document readings this afternoon, whatever. And, there is another one. We're going to take a look at it because I'm going to just tell you, it's pretty spicy. And, yeah. Some things just make me so mad. Uh, and honestly, there's a lot in this case that makes me angry. I'm going to go up here to the top. I want to say hello to everyone. And I don't know if we're going to get through because of the documents and because I have I have some more tea that I just, you can't see it very well, so I really think I'm probably going to save that for a part 2. But I kind of think if we have a good discussion, we're going to end up doing part 2 anyway. Let me say hello to everybody. Hello, Margaret. Let me go down here. Hi, Awatha. Thank you. You know how to put on my glasses? Oh, I'm glad you liked the new intro. I worked on that yesterday. Just Deb. Good to see you. Linda K. Hot and spicy, just how we like it. Oh yeah, we all about some spicy tea. We love that here. Alright, James Powers, hello. Oh, I skipped you. Caddy Crime Ghoul. Hi, hi, hi. Rescue all the dogs. Hello. Kelly Miller, it is good to see you. Polygraph. Good to see you as well. You're back for round 2. Unmasked Truth. Alright. Frosty. I'm waiting for the prosecution's response before passing judgment. I was furious earlier. Yeah, there's a whole lot. There's a whole lot here. And I know that, look, here's the thing. We can disagree and we can be friends if we do it right, right? Everybody respect everybody's opinion. Everybody's got one. Everybody sees things differently. Hold that thought. Bonnie Coffenauer, hello. I just don't want to miss anybody who's here in the very beginning, okay? I appreciate y'all so much. Jinxie. Hey, Jinx. Gloria. Thank you to my mods who are on here. Digital. Danger Dave. Danger Dave has a channel too, as well as Frosty. Y'all go check them out. Please show them some love. Hoosier. Well, how come I can't get this on here? Good to see you. Yes, please check out all of these channels because it is, I want to show love. Look, like I said, we don't have to agree on everything. French, Hi. Haven't seen you in a hot second. Um, all right. Those are all of the those are all y'all early people. Okay. So I was thinking about something today. Here we start. Look it, we start again with the fuzz. It's because I've got animal hair in here. Ugh. I was thinking about something this afternoon. It's still hot. You can see it's hot here, almost 90 today. Um, but this weekend it's going to be 66. And I know this doesn't sound like it's related, but it is. Hold on. Just hold on to your britches for a second. So I was thinking, oh wow, 66, cool. That sweater weather, you know? And it's exciting when you live in the deep south and you you're used to hundreds, 90s, hundreds, whatever, heat index of God knows what. And at 66, it's like it's a nice cool autumn chill. That's how we see it after the hot summer. Now, it does, contrary to popular belief, it gets very cold in Alabama. And the thing with our weather is that it's humid. So, whereas it can be 20 degrees out west and you really don't feel it that much. And in other places, even up north, there are some states that are very dry. We're very humid. So, 30 degrees here feels like, oh my God, you just want to die. You just really want to die. And it gets way lower than that. It gets in the teens, sometimes occasionally in the single digits. Now, here's my point. After we go through that very cold, wet winter, when we have a day that's 66 degrees, we look at it as like, oh my gosh, I can get by with a t-shirt tomorrow. I'm so excited. It's warm, okay? It's warm after the winter. It's cool after the summer. It depends. Do you see what I'm saying? It's two different viewpoints. If you look at it from this way, you see hot. If you look at it from this way, you see cold. And I think that sometimes what happens when we, as people, just people, not, taking the creators out of it, when we're looking at the case, we look at it from a certain point of view and from a perspective. And so then, we can get caught up in thinking our way is right, this way is right. 66 is 66. Doesn't matter what season you came off of. It's still the same degrees, but it's perceived differently. And so, I like to listen to all creators, like I've said. I believe in thinking. I believe in keeping an open mind. We talk about that a lot here. So, that being said, I stay off Discord really for my mental health. I am on my Discord, so if you want to message me, whatever, if you're on there, just know I'm not posting a whole lot. And because here's the thing, you have a lot of people that have an agenda. We've talked about agendas, right? I don't know who the name behind the screen is. I do not know you personally. I don't know what your agenda is. And neither does anybody else, unless they know you in real life, right? So, we have a lot of experts or proclaimed experts. I don't know. I can't vet you. Maybe you are. But it seems like so many people are trying to twist the narrative to the way that they think. They're seeing that 66 degrees differently than I am, and that's okay. But right now, and normally I don't care. I really don't care. But I read it, and if I don't agree, it just I let it roll off my back and I go on. But at this particular time, with so much going on in the Delphi case, I feel like I don't want to listen to anybody's opinion. Okay, not a whole lot. I want to read the documents. I want to think. I do listen to things like prosecutors' podcasts and defense podcasts because they actually are experts. Okay, so that's where I'm coming from. Shane Considine, hi, nice to see you. Okay, so understand that's my thinking. And there was another document dropped. Lord have mercy. There's so many documents. But this one, y'all, I don't even know what to say about this. And you're right, Frosty. We'll see what the prosecution has to say. But I go back, that being said, and I read out their response to the memorandum. That being said, in their response, they did say that in other words, not all of the memorandum, I get this out, not all of the memorandum is true. Now, they did not say none of it is true. This is a bunch of hogwash. They didn't say that. They said it's not all true. So, if it's not all true, there's some false, but there's also truth, right? So even to me, reading that, it means the prosecution acknowledges that some of it is true. Now, we don't know what part, but that's what we're hopefully going to find out in trial. So let me go. Hello, kitty. Good to see ya. Yeah, I did not have, CJ is just so busy, so he couldn't be with us tonight, and so hello to CJ, and I hope you get all your stuff taken care of. You take care of you first. Definitely the most important. In the meantime, let's look at some stuff, okay? I like stuff. And let's see, I may put this on full screen. And if I do, I cannot see your comments. Yeah, I can't see your comments now, so just hold up. All right, newest document. And this is spicy tea. I'm going to get into some of your spicy tea, but let's read through this because, man. I'm going to hit the highlights on this. Again, this is talking about the Frank's motion. Look at number 2. Since filing that motion, the defense has received new discovery that strongly supports the defense's belief, okay, this is their belief, that Tony Liggett and Unified Command attempted to conceal from Judge Diener and has since even attempted to hide from the defense. That evidence supports that those practicing Odinism were, the perpetrators. All right. So they're just saying, we believe. Okay, well, I don't care what you believe. What I care about is the facts. Here we go. Specifically, Tony Liggett swore under oath at his August 8th, 2023 deposition that a Purdue officer did not believe that the sticks found on Abby and Libby's bodies consisted of runes. And it gives the page number, okay? Furthermore, Sergeant Jerry Holman swore under oath at his August 10th, 2023 deposition that a Purdue professor said that the sticks found on the girls did not represent Odinism or any type of cult worshipping or any type of a group that would have conducted the crime. Again, it gives the reference. So Holman says, no, the professor said, nah, this does not represent Odinism or any kind of cult that could do this act. Number 5, because of the findings of this Purdue professor at the Unified Command claim to have essentially abandoned the Odinism aspect of the investigations into the murders of Abby and Libby. Well, that makes sense. You go talk to a professor, he takes a look at the pictures and the staging, whatever, and he says, no, this isn't Odinism, this is not any kind of cult, I don't know what this crap is, but this is no kind of cult, that would do this, according to Jerry Holman, right? The same people who couldn't remember his dang name. I'm just saying. Or they weren't sure, they thought it was Purdue. But who it was, we don't know. It was Jeffrey Turco. We know that now. All right. Now this one made me angry. Okay? It really did. Number 6, in response to the defense request to depose this Purdue professor on September 6, 2023, the prosecutor, Nick McClellan, told the defense via email, quote, as stated before, we are trying to identify the Purdue professor, but no luck yet. Detective Holman has reached out to the FBI and Purdue and has not gotten a response yet. We will continue our endeavors, but may not be able to identify him or her. Okay, so you have the lead prosecutor saying, hey, we've looked for this. We don't know who it is. We're trying to find out. All right, so when the defense asks about this mysterious professor, he's like, we don't know. This is as recent as September. Okay, that was in his email, according to them. Number 7, however, on September 19th, the day after the Franks memorandum was filed, where it was revealed that Purdue professor was missing miraculously. Okay, I'm acting like the defense now. Jerry Holman found the professor, whose name is Jeffrey Turco, and interviewed him. Wow, the day after the memorandum, all of a sudden, you had divine guidance. You found him. And that's a little sus, right? Is it just me? However, in the interview, Jerry Holman apologized to Turco for the 3 to 4 weeks that it took him to sit down and talk with Turco. This means that Holman was aware of the Purdue professor's identity since mid to late August, but nonetheless told Nick McClellan that Unified Command could not locate the Purdue professor, and furthermore, they might not ever be able to find the Purdue professor. Ever. Okay. But remember, miraculously, the day after the memorandum, he was discovered. There he was at Purdue, just like he's been. However, it was after it was obvious that the Purdue professor would probably out himself as the missing Purdue professor following the Franks memorandum, Holman went and interviewed the professor the day after the Franks memorandum was filed. Okay? So they filed the memorandum. Holman, miraculously finds this elusive professor and interviews him the very next day. Why would Holman and the Unified Command try to hide the name of the Purdue professor, even risking ridicule for the absurdity that they could not remember his name? The answer is obvious once the tape statement was played. Okay, these are the points, really. All right. Dr. Turco stated that after viewing the pattern of the sticks on the girls, that it was a given that someone was trying to replicate a Germanic runic script. Okay, now, replicate can mean staging, okay? Because we'll read on here, and he's saying, yeah, it looks like they tried to do this. It wasn't exactly right, but somebody was trying to, and I guess this is why they said it was staged. Furthermore, Dr. Turco consulted with a colleague from Harvard, who has had even more knowledge on ruins, and runes, not ruins, and this Harvard professor was in agreement with Turco. Furthermore, Dr. Turco stated that Odinism is an extreme neo-pagan, neo-heathenism ideology that has right-wing racist connotations. Okay, we've talked about that, the Vinlanders and all that. Of course, he stated that according to 19th century sources that Vikings practiced ritual unalivings and sacrifices. That is true. If you look up, and I've done this before all this mess came out, Odinism, as originally practiced by the Vikings, did have all of those elements. However, today's Odinists, yeah, they say that that is not something they practice. And honestly, I couldn't say whether it is or it isn't, because I am not a member of that, religion. I will say that just because somebody practices a, religion that used to have, sacrificial stuff, doesn't mean that they do it now. Okay. Um, I don't know how, how it was in Viking days, but now you go to jail for that. So now, that being said, can there be, a stray, crazy person out there that does that? Of course there can. There's, we've talked about that before too. There's a lot of people out here doing crazy stuff. All right. Furthermore, Dr. Turco stated that although he could not necessarily interpret these runes, that the stick configurations were pretty clearly runic, and that he could certainly imagine that this was somebody's idea, that when you do a human unaliving, you carve runes. There are some poetic sources that would sort of support that. Let me move this up. That idea that somebody else might have come across. This scenario seems entirely plausible to me. He discussed how runes were thought to have magical significance and would be used in incantations and rituals, and that there is a sacrificial connection in mythology and poetry. And, he said it was kind of the things that a Odin fanboy would do. All right. And understand this. This is what I was saying. Not necessarily part of a modern day religious practice, but fanboys, fangirls, some people go too far down the rabbit hole and they become unhinged. And, could it have been somebody trying, especially, again, I don't have any idea how this particular group of people do things. I mean, think about it. Even in Christian religions, you can take one certain aspect of that religion, such as how we baptize people. Some sprinkle, some dunk. It's like it's a big old war. Denominations have, risen up on one principle. The Baptists baptize all the way. The Catholic sprinkle. You see what I'm saying? You can have a lot of diversity in different groups. So, what did this group practice? Well, we don't know. Unless you're part of it, you don't know. And could they have deviated some from what the standard, if you're a professor, you are looking at the standard, this is what Odinism is, and these are exact, this is what they do. And some people who maybe don't understand, or maybe they've just made it their own, whatever. So was it true Odinism? I don't know. It looks like somebody was attempting to make it look that way, or maybe they were sincere doing it. We don't know. But here comes the problem. Number 14, let's look at this. It seems apparent by the timing of events that Tony Liggett and Unified Command knew the Purdue professor's name and wanted to hide his name and his findings from the defense, as Turco's conclusions supported the defense and opposed the prosecution and Liggett and Holman's sworn statements. You gotta love the defense. Here they go again. Therefore, apparently in what seems like a complete harebrained scheme, Holman and Liggett decided to claim that they did not know the professor's name, hoping that this would put an end to the defense looking into the Purdue professor. However, once the memorandum made it clear, he was found. Basically the next day. I'm not going to read all of that. But this really, really did tick me off, though. Again, Franks requires a preliminary finding that law enforcement has acted intentionally. All right, here's the point, okay? Even with that memorandum, I understand why they did it, and it was a brilliant move on the defense's part. That 136 pages, we talked about that earlier. But I still wondered if they would get a Frank's hearing, because it is a very hard thing for the judge to rule in favor of. It has to be blatant. And here, this last paragraph is really, this is what, in my opinion, now of course the judge can rule any way she wants to. And I don't have to agree with it. She ain't gonna ask my opinion. I wish she would, but she ain't. Again, Franks requires a preliminary finding that law enforcement has acted intentionally or with reckless disregard for the truth when being accused of concealing evidence from the judge who signed the warrant. It would be difficult to find a more outrageous set of facts to support that Liggett and the Unified Command intentionally concealed the Odin information from Judge Diener. If Liggett and Unified Command were willing to try to get away with concealing a Purdue professor from defense counsel, then it is easy to see that they would have no problem concealing all the evidence detailed in the Franks memorandum from Judge Diener as well. So basically they're saying, if you don't believe us that, from what we've found, that this was actually a smoke screen. Let's see, man, go back here. From the prosecution, of course the defense is saying that the whole thing, the clothes on the bridge, the descriptions of the bridge guy, completely different, cars different, all that stuff that we've discussed before. So they're saying if they're gonna hide this about the, clearly said they didn't know who the professor was, wasn't sure he was even from Purdue. They didn't know if it was a male, female, what. And then the next day they found him. Okay, that looks really bad. In my opinion, that looks really bad for the prosecution, because it does look like they were trying to conceal evidence. It really does. And if they were, the defense has a point. If you're going to conceal that, what else are you concealing? In that PCA, we've already found all these things that are inconsistent with the PCA that you wrote versus what the actual case files say, the affidavits, etc. So, yeah, to me, that is a real problem. And that was pretty spicy to drop today. Let's see. And I will tell you this, very good point, Wisdom Sleuth. Actually, in some of the spicy tea, that we'll get into, you will probably recognize some statements that you have made. I will tell you this, because of all of the hate and toxicity that has gone along with this case, in this case tonight, I have taken the names out of most of the comments. They can be found, so, if you want receipts, I just edited them so, people wouldn't just be ugly. But you'll know if you wrote a comment that I'm going to read out. All right, Wisdom Sleuth. So do you think Nick's going to keep the change if Rick doesn't go to trial? Is that 200,000? It looks like a lot of zeros. Is a lot of money for an inexperienced prosecutor. Is that even normal for even a normal sum for prosecution team? It seems excessive. In this case, I don't know if he's making, a whole bunch of money. This is high profile. Is it probably worth it? I mean, they're going to say yes, especially if he wins the case. I don't even think money is, I know Carroll County can only pay so much, really. They're going to have to start having some bake sales, some yard sales, GoFundMe, if this drags on and on. But, hey, let's just be real. All right, let's be real. Let's think about human nature, okay? I'm not saying, okay, let me just say this. From here on out, everything is speculation and theory. I am not accusing anyone. I am just making observations. It is my opinion only. And I'm entitled to that, okay? Let's go back to old Nick. Uh, if, let's just say deep down in his soul, hypothetically, that Nick doesn't believe that RA is guilty either. Um, but he has the chance to prosecute a case to show off his skills. He's going to get paid a lot. Yeah, he's going to have to work hard, but he's going to get paid a lot. He's going to get a lot of recognition. Win or lose, he will probably have job offers unless he just completely, makes a horse's rear end out of himself. And from what we've seen so far, Nick has done a very good and professional job. And, you have to think, even if he doesn't believe a word of it, would he still do it for the money and notoriety? Well, I would say most people would. Um, Most people absolutely would. So is he going to try this case to the best of his ability, even if he knows he's going to lose, even if he knows that there is not enough evidence, really, for a slam dunk, or even, to get away without a reasonable doubt? I mean, I think most people, and I'm not saying it makes him any different than anybody else. I'm not saying that would make him a horrible person. I mean, attorneys do it all the time, whatever. Uh, not my cup of moral tea, but I mean, I'm not a saint either. So, I mean, I'm not casting stones. I'm just saying, would most people do it? Absolutely. Absolutely. Good question. Uh, Yeah, I think things are unraveling fast, and we'll see. And here's the thing, the response to that memorandum was cut and dry. It was very professional, as it should be, and they presented it very well. The thing that I noticed, I mean, and it can be 8 pages, and short and sweet is good. Um, I didn't see a whole lot in there that refuted um, what the memorandum said. They didn't even bring up the Odinism, okay? That wasn't even a thing. They didn't mention it. Um, they said it wasn't true. They didn't give any reasons why it wasn't true. And they actually admitted that, yeah, some of it's true. Not all of it. The way it's worded, it's like, so, I guess it wasn't that compelling. It was exactly what was expected in a response, okay? Nothing earth shattering. So, I don't know if they're gonna uh, come up with something better to this. Oh, good comments, y'all. Some good comments in here. Okay. Uh, Charles Godwin says money for trial is set aside, and if not used for one case, will either be used on others or used for a different local function. Okay, there you go. I'm sure that he is going to get paid well. And I think most of his payment, I'm sure he will make a nice sum, all right? And I'm going to say this, as he should. It's a hard case. It's a high profile case. He should get paid well for it. Um, love him or hate him, he deserves a good salary. I think his biggest payment is if he shows well, he will get way more opportunities, okay? And that's probably worth more than the money he's going to make. Uh, Let me go through here. Oh my goodness. So many good comments, y'all. Yeah, we'll have some more spicy tea in here. All right, let's go to some things to talk about, all right? Are you with me so far? Now, wait a second. What is this? Wait. Digital. I don't know what we're agreeing with here. Oh, you're agreeing with Wisdom Sleuth. And I don't see that comment right this second. Gold told them they should go for Frank's hearing? Really? Can anybody say, hey, is that true? If the judge told them they should, well, I mean, does she think it's valid? Does that mean she thinks it's valid? Or does she think, I'm gonna let you make a complete, horse's rear end out of yourself? I don't know. I don't think, even though a lot of people are saying, it's a bunch of hogwash, whatever. Again, I'm gonna disagree. Whether it has anything to do with a cult, I don't know. What I will say is that the defense got information out there, very sneaky, with a gag order, and let everybody know what's going on, okay? And they have an agenda for that, but could they have done it any other way? I mean, we talked about this earlier this afternoon. Sure, they could have, just cited reasons, blah, 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 made it short and sweet, to the point, like Nick did in his response, but no. They wanted to tell the story and all the reasons. That was just basically the defense doing a PCA on Brad Holder and, the Odinist. So, I don't know. I think it was smart. All right. Let me see. Okay, Chelsea, yes, Judge Gold told them to motion for Franks, but I'm afraid she may be mad about the defense's filings. Well, here's the thing. I would not fault her for being mad, okay? Because she wanted everything. Everything's been sealed. The information we got a few months ago was not much. And she may have said, yeah, go for Frank's, not understanding or not imagining, dreaming that they were going to lay out the whole crime scene and give details in that were not supposed to be let out. So, yeah, she might be mad. I think if I were in her shoes, and I think I would be too, if you're trying to keep that a secret. Let's see. Oh, y'all got some interesting stuff here. Okay. Oh my gosh. Y'all are mentioning some names. Let me just say this. Uh, Pastor Todd's church. Interesting. I've heard that name come up a lot. As a matter of fact, it just came up maybe yesterday in somebody else's stuff that they were telling me about. I really would love to have some more information on that. All right, let's go to your spicy comments. Let's see here. Now, I'm going to have to stop this every so often. What? No. Sorry. User error. Let's try this again. I am going to have to, because the thing with StreamYard is, let me back this up. The thing with StreamYard is that it's just not really always user friendly. Okay, we got BG here. All right, I'm going to have to go full screen because I can't see this little print. I need a second screen is what I need. All right, this came, again, I'm going to cite the source here. This came from Dark Secrets of Delphi's Bridge of Lies, Robert Lindsay, and this is a Facebook group. All right, I'm a member of a lot of groups. I really don't, honestly, I don't read them that often. I don't know if you can see this. He says, I will have a new post up pretty soon. This was just intriguing, all right? And let me just tell you, it gets more intriguing as these pictures go by. About half is about the Flora fires. I don't know what he's talking about. And a new theory we have about that now, that we have an excellent suspect in the leader of the Vinlanders, Patrick Westfall, who is an extremely violent man who I am sure has unalived before. But mostly I think he's like a mafia don, or a, how do I say that, shot unaliver. He just puts hits on people and maybe helps plan them. Mostly, he just has his underlings do it. If the Vinlanders are behind both the Delphi and Flora fires, as I suspect, then the two crimes are linked. People have long insisted that they were linked without good evidence, but it looks like they were right after all. Uh yeah. Well, here's the thing. A couple of videos ago, um remember, I want to see your comments. A couple of videos ago, we looked at where he lived basically. And again, this is theory and speculation. Nobody's accusing anybody. We're just talking. We're just having some tea, you know. We're just spilling a little bit. He did live just a few houses down from Galen Rose, and so he would be very close to, being able to know what was going on, when they were there, when they weren't. We have a couple videos ago, I showed you, and this is from the Anti-Defamation League. They've got his picture up there, for God's sakes, with his name, that he's part of the Vinlanders, and, how a racist group. So there is no getting out of that. And so now, and we talked about, go back and watch that video, it was about 3 videos ago or so. Very interesting connection. Very. It does make you think. Does it mean he's guilty? No. Nope. Does not. It also doesn't make him innocent. Also suggests that either he or part of his group may have had something to do with Flora. Man, there are so many theories. We're going to get into some of those. And like I said, I don't know if we will finish them tonight. We're going to go through it as we can, because I want to hear what you have to say. Honestly, kind of wish this was a Zoom call. Oh, wait. It just moved. Okay. All right, Wisdom Sleuth. Keith completely agreed that the Triangle neighborhood, he lived in the house that Google Maps had pinned saying house, which was odd, but he had a view into Richard's backyard. Who owns it now? Really? Huh. Interesting. Ooh, okay, you know what? I can't even say this. I can't even say this online because of all of the words in here. I'm just gonna let y'all read this. I don't know the story, okay? I don't know the story. Don't know if that makes I don't know. Okay? Evidence, whatever. I don't know how that one got through. So I cannot pass judgment on that. If I, if I did know, I would certainly have an opinion, I guarantee you. All right. So what do y'all think? Let me just ask maybe that question out there. Let's talk about Flora for just a quick second. Because we'll bring it up again. Did y'all find it? Did you know? When you see that map and you see where Westfall lived in relation to Galen Rose, and knowing his history, again, we're not done with this, but did that surprise you? Did anybody have him on their radar for Flora? Did anybody? Because I really, which I have spent way more time on, looking into Delphi than Flora for sure. Again, mainly because I get so ticked off about Flora, I can't hold it together. But what do y'all think? Okay. Meow did. Meow did. Okay. You know what? I'm sure. I am sure that if anybody would have him on the radar, it would be Meow, because she knows so much about that case. And I've read tons and tons of stuff. I shared some from her community page recently. Um, yeah, let me throw this up here, Wisdom. I talked about that. Again, that was videos ago. That whole thing. But I thought it was, wasn't the guy, what was his name? It was something, was it Ferenczi? Something like that. The police officer that was the victim of the Molotov cocktail that drove him outside, and then he was gunned. Y'all know what I'm saying. All right. Let me go back to this. Man, I love to see y'all's comments in here, and I hate that I can't understand what everybody is saying. Hold on, what did I do here? All right. Let's go to the next one. Now this is going back to Delphi. I can't say all of this. We know that a certain kind of knife was used because detectives were asking around in local hardware stores whether anyone had bought a particular knife recently. We know a scalpel was used because we know someone who somehow acquired a crime scene photo showing a scalpel lying on the forest floor. I don't even want to read this next part. You can read it. Let's go down to the last paragraph. Interestingly, a sigh would fit in perfectly with this being an Odinist's unaliving, because there was an ancient pagan ceremony done right around the time of year of the unalivings that involved placing horns on a victim's head and using the sigh. Okay, this ceremony was done in early February. I don't know if you are referring to, there are actually several. It depends on what pagan religion you are. There is one called Lupercalia that does actually take place on the 14th, I believe, of February. So maybe the early hours, or late hours of the 13th into the 14th. Anyway, that is one. I do not know. Don't quote me. I don't know if that's part of the Odin religion or not, but it is certainly a common, maybe more common in Europe, but definitely one of the things that they do. Oh my goodness. Wisdom sleuth. All right, I might come back to that. That is some tea right there. All right, now, let's go into this. This is the reason that we bring... Okay, let me show what Wisdom Sleuth is saying. I'm going to throw it up here. It was thrown... let's see. Talking about Yoder. That is why he had the accelerant on his jacket. You could hear the pop and then hear Drew scream and then his alarm go off. This was right after Erskine up porch tossed it. Talking about the Flora fire. Very interesting. What can I say about that? I can't say. I'm just saying. There it is. Do with it what you will. I'm giving you the tea. And then y'all are giving the tea. All right. Now, the reason that we're talking about, let me show you the reason that I brought up that post about the psi. There is, and here we go. Here is a picture, and this is of, you can see, I don't know if you can see it in, this is in 2017. This is Colton Fox. Fawkes. Now, let me tell you something. I cannot vet this because I did not see it myself, but it is from a very, very good source. And thank you. You know who you are. We'll leave it at that. But this Colton Fox, I was told, can be easily checked into to see that he is Colton Creasy. He's using this name. So check out this blade. We're gonna look some more at this blade. Now this is in 2017. He posted this picture. Anybody who is knowledgeable about Flora, you also know, right? The name Colton Creasy, because he was at Galen Rose's house the night of the fire, or just before the fire, a few hours before the fire, whatever. You know, that whole, we've talked about that whole relationship and stuff. So let's look at, let me go to the next picture. All right, again, let me see if I see the date on this. April 4th, 2017. Okay, do you see it? I don't know if you can tell. It's so dark on here. But you see, here's where the blade goes. Follow my, let me see if this is doing it. I don't know if you can, if this is following my mouse, but you see it, it goes around. See the round part over here on the left? Follow that up if you can see it. That is the same blade that he just had in his hand. That's just, you know, whatever. Showing you his weapons. All right. We're going to talk about this too. So, okay, let me stop there for just a second. Is it coincidence that Colton Fox, has a blade that is shaped like a psi? Now, whether that, you know, to me, the psis that I've seen are usually more rounded, like bigger. But that definitely is one. Would it suggest that he is part of some kind of, group? If he is, you know, he was also in Flora, so there you go. There's a possible, all right, throwing out theories, there is a possible connection there. What do y'all think? What do y'all think about that? Oh, that's okay, Kip Kitty. That's okay. You're probably already gone now. It's all right, no problem. Hello, Marie Jane. Welcome. We're talking about stuff. Man, y'all got some good comments here for another show, I'll tell you that. So what do you think? All right, let's go back to the Colton Fox. What do you think about that blade? Do you think it means anything, or you think, you know, I don't know. It's suspicious. Okay? It's real sus. All right, this, y'all know that we've talked, how much have we talked about Freemasonry? A ton. So, this one, Brad Holder, because, you know, we talked about that. We've got, it's no secret, Brad Holder is involved with the Sons of Odin. He is also a Freemason. We've got the pictures to prove it, okay? We've got him in his Masonic garb. And so, you know, it is what it is. And we've talked extensively about Freemasonry. So it's not brand new news that he is involved. However, when we did that last video, which I made, somebody pointed out to me, I made a really, it was, I really didn't realize what I was saying. Oh my God. If you read the comment, I was like, oh my God, I did say that. Yeah. I'm not going to embarrass myself again. It was interesting. But we were trying to look at Brad Holder's apron and determine what kind of symbol was on there. Because, the Masons, they all have a symbol on there on the white aprons. And I was trying to make it out. It was really hard, to figure out what that was. So here we go. Brad Holder was the High Steward in the Tipton Masonic Lodge number 33 in Logansport, Indiana in 2017. He also was the leader of the Odinist tribe he belonged to in 2017. And that's kind of interesting, the Odinist tribe that he belonged to, because now again we're saying, do different tribes do things differently? I mean, I don't know. I mean, like I said, denominations, they all do things differently. And so, the going back to the professor, were those runes, were those things, really sincere? Was it somebody staging? Was it fanboy? Was it real? I don't know, because unless you're a member, you wouldn't know of that tribe. I guess they call them tribes. I didn't know that. But now, again, let's connect the dots. It doesn't mean it did happen, but it only means it could happen. I've said it over and over and over. Part of the oaths of the Freemasons, and the higher up you go, the more you learn. Are there wonderful people who are Freemasons? Yes. They're usually lower level, or I don't know. Maybe they're not what they say. I have met a lot of Freemasons, some of which I think they're really great people. I'm not coming down on them as a whole. What I am coming down on is any kind of group that requires you at a certain level to take an oath that you will not tell on your brother. If you have a brother Freemason who commits a crime, I mean, what the actual, vow is that, you're quartered and burned your body parts. This is what you say, and people are like, oh, it's just a social club. Really don't mean all that. Well, then why do you say it? Because I want to tell you what, I am a member of a lot of social clubs. Never has one required me to do that or to say that, because I would have some choice words if you did. Whatever. So let's look at it. Brad Holder is a Mason. Nick McClelland is a Mason. We know that. There's other Masons, but let's just take those two. And law enforcement has a very high percentage of people that are Freemasons. All right? It's kind of like you have to be invited, but it's kind of like a status thing. They watch out for each other. I've even got a video months back from an ex-cop who said there were years that he was running to get out of the Masons, and he's still on the radar, and mostly now because he's telling their secrets. But and it's not just him. There's tons of people that will say that. Now, if Brad Holder was involved, I'll say it again, and let's say some of the other players, let's say old Tobe or Tony or some of the other officers, let's say Holman, what if they were Freemasons? What if they knew, hypothetical, what if they knew that this was part of the Odin tribe's doings, but he's also a Freemason? That's a problem, isn't it? Because you can't tell. Can't tell. Theoretically, yeah. Did it happen? I don't know. I do know this from the Masons that I have known. Um, they're very serious about that stuff, okay? They don't like a whole lot of questions, and they're very, very serious about it, okay? Especially when they're higher up. Oh, support with Steffa. Didn't know Brad Holder and Nick are Masons. Yes, it does. Yes, it does. Means something. Yeah, you can go back into my other videos. I've got pictures of them in their full garb. So there's, there's no denying that. Okay, and whatever. It's not illegal to be a Mason. But if you're going to keep the oaths, it may require you to do something illegal. Um, I'm going to go ahead and highlight this. Becky needs to tell us how she suggested Brad Holder to Officer Purdy. Okay, that is a question. And let me tell you why it's a question to me. Because she said that she did not know, they didn't know any of the details about the crime scene. Now, I'm sure they may not have looked at the report, but it's a small town. They were found by actually a family member. Do I think that somebody told her? Yeah, I do. At least to some degree. Is that the reason that, they said, oh, it looked, sacrificial, it looked occultic, it looked, whatever. And then she's like, you know what? Brad Holder, son, Logan, Dayton Abbey, Brad is part of, this cult group. Could it have come by that way? Yeah. There could be a lot of ways it came by. A lot of reasons. Let me just say that. There's a lot of reasons. And let me show this. Let's be fair. Nobody Nothing says, I had some Freemasons help me out once. That's how I first learned about them and ended up, my boss was the judge's campaign manager, and my landlord was also Mason and dentist. Yeah, it is a huge thing, especially amongst professional people. Like I said, I've known some great people who were Masons. As far as I know, they're great people. Okay, can't say anything different. I have no reason to believe that they've ever done anything nefarious. Okay. Yeah, Mario, I did watch Clutch, as a matter of fact. Wisdom Sleuth. Yes, you have a good comment. Nobody, they are supposed to be for the good of society, but the problem is when you get bad people in there saying that they want their own kind of society, that they use it for what it's not meant for. And unmasked truth, I say this all the time. Absolute power corrupts absolutely. Yeah, it does. It does. And dang, I've seen some really good people be put in a place of power, and then you're like, I don't even recognize this person. It's sad, but that is so true. So true. Um, Let me move that. Okay, let's see. Yeah, and Creasy goes to work early and see. Yeah, you know what? Back on Flora and Colton Creasy. Yeah, he sees the fire. He sees Galen. He's going to work. He doesn't stop. Yeah, whatever. Whatever. To me, that's not a nice person, but that's just my opinion, for what it's worth. All right. Let's look at, let me play this some more. Let me find, all right. These are the things you said. All right. And I don't know who they are referring to exactly, But it says, yep, and that's where their timeline falls apart. Even if the Snapchat pictures were not absolutely fake, like I said, it doesn't matter if Richard was on the bridge, the girls weren't there at the time. Does someone who's prepared enough to unalive two girls park that far away so that they have to walk on a fairly busy road? Yeah, let me just stop right there. That was my question. If this was planned and you like, why would you park so far away? If you knew you had to get back somewhere. Now, again, maybe the unaliving wasn't planned. Maybe it was something else, and he didn't think he would be that involved. Uh, Still, go and commit a crime. Your adrenaline's going to be up. I don't know. Uh, Definitely the busy road part. Okay, I'm sure you could have found somewhere. Even if you wanted to park like more hidden, why didn't or away from the high bridge? That I just don't understand you are why you're out in the open like that. That was not a slick move. No one saw the girls, and the witnesses are hearsay. Yeah, there's a lot of controversy over. There was a purple PT Cruiser that was. This is the part. This is the part. I want somebody to tell me. There was a purple PT Cruiser that was just like the one Tobe parked in his own driveway backwards. Okay, is that true? I have honestly never heard that Tobe had a purple PT Cruiser. I have heard and seen pictures of Tony Klein's mom having a purple PT Cruiser, but I've not heard anything about Tobe. So can somebody vet that for me? Stop. Stop. You're not part of this live. No. Go on. God. Yeah, I know. Brad was staying at Ron's. I also heard Brad Holder was on the trails that day. Um, I've heard that. I wasn't there. I don't know. Has anybody else heard that? Have you seen somebody who can vet that? Because I can't. Stop, stop, stop. Uh, yeah, Linda Kay. I think Creasy may be more involved than first figured. Yeah. I mean, it kind of looks that way, doesn't it? Um, oh my gosh. Man, do y'all have the good comments in here? Uh, Interesting. Um, Put this up there. Linda, I've always felt that he and the lady that was supposedly friends with her from the marathon, who would have had access to the video that was corrupted, only knew her for 2 weeks. In my opinion, they used her. Interesting. This is again about the Flora case. So if you and I'm not trying to. It's just a lot of people, Delphi people, don't know that much about Flora, so I'm trying to keep this as close to Flora. I mean, as to Delphi. I'll get this right. So nobody, I don't see anything in the comments. Anybody know anything about a purple PT Cruiser and Tobe? What I do know, that I just learned, is that there was a shack. Was there a shack? I heard there was a shack on Tobe's property. Just saying. But now, then again, there's a lot of shacks, little wooden or storage buildings or whatever, all over the place. Even here too, something that they could call a shack. But it was brought to my attention, so I'll bring it to your attention. And this was actually Okay, this was an answer to that about the purple PT Cruiser. And someone told me, Sleuth of all people, I don't know why of all people, but Sleuth of all people did a show on it a few about 6 months back and showed it from Google Earth view. I did not see that. He also showed what house the pastor BH has in that triangle neighborhood. Oddly, it has a Google pin saying house, usually only business pins, and he's got a clear view into RA's backyard, close to when he did the JP interview. And that was, I don't know. I think if I was reading those comments correctly, because I asked when they said Tobe had a purple PT Cruiser, I said, what? And I was like, hey, can somebody vet this? This was the next answer. So I don't know. If y'all watch Sleuth, did anybody see that? Does anybody know about that? Okay. Sorry, let me stop the madness. I can't ever shut my phone off. There we go. Okay. Sleuth also showed that on Google's map. Okay. That he had a purple PT Cruiser parked in backwards. Oh my goodness. No wonder they interviewed him 7 times. I mean, come on. Come on now. You're the sheriff. They had to... Excuse me? They had to interview the sheriff 7 times? Dang. I can't even imagine our sheriff being interviewed for something like that. But, I mean, not saying that, people in all positions are faulty, They do stuff, especially in law enforcement. You tend to have a lot of, I've said it before, you tend to have a lot of corruption in law enforcement. A lot of people go into that profession because they want to be corrupt. Just like a lot of addicts or abusers of substances go into nursing. I see it all the time in my coworkers and in hospitals and, whatever facilities. Yeah, a lot of people go into nursing for that reason. Same thing with law enforcement. Doesn't mean they're all bad. Not saying that. Don't misquote me. But now I'm just saying this. The people that saw a purple PT Cruiser at the CPS building parked backwards, and then Tobe's got one, and he lost his handcuffs. It don't look good, Tobe. It kind of makes me think there's, no. I already know. I already know the whole reason for that everything to happen the way it did is Tony Liggett had to get that position, right? He had he had to become sheriff. Yeah, I'm gonna say that. There's too much in there. They know too much. Whatever. There's stuff I think that they were covering up. Now, who they're covering for, I don't know. That is my opinion. Can't take that to court. But, look, half of the world thinks that. If you know anything about Delphi, you're like, yeah, that was... We knew it was coming there. Let me see. Let me go. Let me see what you're saying. Well, Steffa, oh my gosh, do I agree 100% with this? I wish Sheriff Grady Judd would go in there and investigate this case. Absolutely, me too. Yay. How do I, let me figure this out. Let me go back up here. You know what? I'm giving you a star. I'm giving you a star. That is absolutely the truth. Yeah. Let's see. I think there was I think that was his. Yeah, there was another shack too, and I think both of them caught on fire. Funny, the references of the shack. Y'all, but here's the thing, y'all. Everything in Carroll County catches on fire. Don't y'all know that? Dadgum, I'd be afraid to sit in a restaurant, afraid my britches would go up in flames. You know, y'all have just the most unfortunate accidents. Ooh, Bonnie Coffenauer. Tobe had a shack, but it was closer to the crime scene, I think. Huh. Yeah. These 2 a.m. alibi. Yeah, look. We're gonna get there. I actually think that is, something else. Spontaneous combustion. Yeah, y'all better y'all better be careful if you live in Carroll County or the surrounding counties. I'm just telling you. You could just combust. I think it is a thing. I don't know if it's the weather, what it is, but there's just a lot of combustion going on. Whatever. Okay, yeah, I love Grady Judd. Y'all know. Oh my gosh. All right, let's keep going. Well, you get it to move. Let's go to the next one. We've got tons, and I feel sure that I need to add some of tonight's comments. My God, y'all are good. Y'all are so good. I left my water in the kitchen. I'm hot, and I don't have anything to drink. All right. Now, this is an old thing, okay, from Doug Rice. You know, he has since passed away. I thought this was interesting, okay? Just interesting. There were 4 girls in total that passed BG as he was entering the trail by the Freedom Bridge that afternoon around 1:30. Only one paid him much attention. That is the issue here. I do not like to deal in names, however. These are young girls, and I have never mentioned their names openly any place before, although I know their names. But you are on the right path here. And as I have said before, the young lady and her parents went to LE immediately after the girls were found, and she described him as wearing a blue coat and blue pants with a hoodie pulled up over a short-billed hat and with a scarf over the lower part of his face. She had not seen Libby's pics. LE didn't release that till more than a day later. And does that description leave any room to think she didn't see the same person that is in Libby's video? I thought that was interesting. And there's another... Let's keep going with this because there's another thing I found interesting. This is some tea. Now, I'll just be honest with you. I don't know who they're talking about. I really don't. And again, this is out there. Okay? Some of y'all may have seen this before. It's out there. Floating around cyberspace. You know, it's really hard to keep up with what is fact versus rumor. Boy, ain't that the truth. So many people just give these witnesses names. But from my understanding, which could be completely wrong, these witnesses had a friendship. That's the easiest way I know how to put it, with someone in the family. Could you say that is true, or at least that is your understanding? Okay, when you say, hold on just a second. Can y'all hear that noise behind me? That is my daughter. I don't know what she's doing. You hear weird noises? It's not the ghosts. It sounds like something screeching in the backyard. So when they say, the easiest way to put it is friends, I'm taking that to mean more than friends, okay? Whatever. Whoever, I don't know. Doug Rice says, yes, it is my understanding. Because the one that was tight with the family paid little to no attention to BG. They are reluctant to give the witness credibility. Believe me, I know this from first-hand interaction. Very frustrating. Finally, a family member has agreed that they believe he was wearing a scarf. That only took me a year and a half. So, yeah, I just thought that was interesting. I do think it's interesting that there are maybe some people that we haven't heard from, about, whatever. Close with the family. What does that mean? Who were you close with? Yeah, was it friends with benefits? I mean, yeah, what are we talking about here? I don't know. Uh, let's see here. Okay, let's keep going. Get back to your comments because there are so many. All right, this was from a Reddit post. All right, I did cut that out, but like I said, I'm a lot of places. I say a lot of stuff. I'd also like clarification on your comment that BG made a passive attempt on a female witness. Could you elaborate on this? I've never read about this. Now, here's the thing. Do y'all from the area, is this person talking about the dog walker? Female witness ran into him before the event. He approached her and had a quick chat, but backed away. There's more to it, but I promise not to say nothing overly dramatic. She clammed up. This is the part that interested me. She clammed up because L.E. doxed her. I know I've heard so many stories about this dog walker. I'm not sure what is the truth. Why is my light going out? Oh, because it's not plugged in. That's why. That would be a good reason, right? Okay. Maybe it'll... I felt like I was getting dim. I was. But I've heard so many stories about the dog walker, about the person who saw the dog walker. So does anybody know? Can this be vetted? You know? Just thought it was interesting. Thought I'd throw that out there for you. All right. Now, look at this. Honestly, I've seen a lot of pictures. This is just hypothetical, okay? Let me turn some of this light on. This is... Hey! All right. This picture of Brad Holder. I've seen a lot of pictures of Brad Holder. All right. I will say that this one, if anybody, and I've said a million times, Bridge Guy could be just almost literally anyone. He looks like, typical rural, okay? I'm not even going to say Indiana, but, rural people. But this picture right here, look at that face. Look at, when was this? Let's see. I don't know what year this was. But I would tell you this. In my opinion, that face looks more like Bridge Guy than Richard Allen. And that's, again, my opinion. Ain't gonna convict nobody. All right. Okay. Here's where I am going to use a lot of your comments without giving you credit. I'm sorry. It's not on purpose. It is because I don't want people coming after you, at you, whatever. That was literally what I said when I came into this case 2.5 years ago and wanted to know who was responsible for these images, talking about the pictures, and they're supposedly being cleaned up because they were definitely photoshopped. And I went about looking for who the teacher was that seemed to be teaching all of this photography. Let's go on. And videography and Photoshop skills. It was Wilson's Bridge. I might have misspelled it. But yes, Becky sent him to go to get new images of the Flora house because, and this is talking about Derek now, because I found out that Becky said had the Flora images had accidentally been erased. Okay, I don't know. Let me start with the first. I know a lot of you do not believe that there was anything photoshopped about, the images. I have never felt comfortable. I'll just say that. I've never felt comfortable. Even before I've watched so many things. I've watched so many people make me question. But prior to that, I couldn't put my finger on it. I just looked at the picture and it didn't sit well with me. It just not so much. But whether you think they are or not, all right, because that will come up again, I'm sure. But yeah, this is talking about, and this is trying to tie. Understand, this is trying to tie Delphi and Flora. Not saying there is a connection. I'm not saying there isn't. All right, it's what we're all trying to figure out. That's why we're here. Without water, choking. Feel like, dust is gonna come up. All right. We were all thinking that KG had factory reset it. All right, here's the theory. Here's a theory. If you're going to connect them. The theory is that, let me see if it's on the next page too. Then I won't have to explain it if it's in writing. Possibly, okay, Kelsey, what are they doing in my kitchen? That Kelsey, reset the phone, possibly because of the Anthony Shots account or something of that nature. But I just found out it was the Flora photos that came up deleted. Ooh. Now that is hot. That is hot. That, in my opinion, was extremely important to the motive, to those who needed her to be quiet. I think she went to tell the wrong policeman about this. Okay, we know that Derek went to retake the Flora photos on the day that Libby and Abby went to the Monon High Bridge. All right, that has been said a bunch of times. They said that the photos, the original Flora photos that had been taken, were accidentally erased. Now is the opinion, the theory, okay, was that is why Libby's phone was reset, because the Flora photos that maybe perhaps Derek used her iPhone to take the photos to start with, and I don't know what was in those photos. That is, again, hypothetical. We don't know. Actually, nobody will ever know because those photos are gone, right? But that is exactly the theory here. And it is quite unsettling, okay? Because what if there was something in the photo that Libby thought was odd and she mentioned it, and then she said, again, we're going down that rabbit hole of theories. But it is possible. Go get your water. What I really want to do is I want to I want to yell real quick to my daughter. Can I do that? Let me mute my microphone because I am about to. Oh my gosh. Even that one swallow feels so much better. Ah, thank you. Thank you for giving me permission, Cleo. Honest to goodness, I really needed to do that. All right. And I have a lot of questions. We'll probably get to that in part two. There are some Let me just tell you, I've been thinking about this case and thinking about this case and going back to a lot of stuff, and I have some very serious questions that I would like for somebody to explain to me. It's not going to happen tonight, but it will happen. Uh, yes, that's true, Mark. Hello, Mark Collins. It drives me crazy too. There's so many rabbit holes. You know, that's why people have been talking about it forever, because there are so many um that are very plausible. I don't know. Okay, Sue Dennis says, I thought that Becky said Derek went to Frankfurt or Cutler. I don't know. I have to go back and watch. I think she said it in several interviews, so I don't know. This was a this was a tea. This was a comment from one of you lovely people. Um, According to this person, their tea, all this tea is your tea. Libby had been with Becky when she had done the appraisal on the Flora house, and she was friends with the one girl. Now, I've heard that they weren't like friends, but she probably did know her. In my opinion, they silenced her before she was able to maybe show something that was in those images that she probably took while there, or speak further about the connectivity to the arson. That was going on. Let's see. I meant to go back. The arson that was going on. Move this back. It wasn't just the Flora house. Well, now, we know. I'm not saying that Becky was involved. I'm not saying she wasn't. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know who was involved. But do we know there is a lot of suspicious fires? Absolutely. Absolutely. Without a doubt. Like I said, your bottom will catch on fire. So, but this has been a theory. Yes, this has been a theory that she was with Becky, and you know, there are a lot. And this is only one theory, that she knew something about Flora. Now, what I will say, to me, that connects the dots more, Patrick Westfall being, you know, in Odinism, Colton Creasy, his choice of pictures, weapons, sus. Not saying they did anything, it's very sus. Alright, let's go a little bit longer. Alright, this is something different. He had a long walk back to the car. That is the impracticality of this. Are you serious? Somebody's going to plan an unaliving and take all of the stuff that was left at the scene and then walk back to their car that far away? Yeah, right. I just love all these people that are saying this Odin thing is hogwash. Yet they don't seem to care that it was Becky that put it out there first. Again, we don't know why. We think she just, you know, made the connection. Even if the Odin thing wasn't the case, Brad Holder was still staying at Ron's house, and his son was still dating Abby. Way more connection than Richard. All right, here is the absolute truth of the matter, okay? If what we've seen against Richard Allen is a big part of it, the majority of it even, not everything, whatever. I would say, based on RA's past history, his lifestyle, whatever, he is way less likely of a suspect than Brad Holder, just by looking at, you know, the things that we've seen already. Does it mean Brad did it? No, it doesn't. But I think if you were going to build a case against somebody, honestly, if you were going to pick somebody to build a case against, that would be a good one. Okay, there's so many things, the affidavits, all that stuff, you know. I'm just telling you. And again, why? why would somebody, yeah, you'd have to, well, they've said they're looking for more than one person, but why would you bring, there's all kind of things that have been, suggested that were in Bridge Guy's coat, and a hunting knife, a silencer, a firearm, other stuff, uh, that's a lot of stuff if you're part far away. And honestly, I know Richard was a hiker, but he does have kind of little legs, and I've got little legs too. Walking a long distance carrying stuff when you got short legs doesn't matter if you're in good shape or not. I mean, come on, not a good idea. Um, let's go on. Now, is this true? This is another hypothetical. Again, here's some stuff hypothetical. Yeah, we are not going to get through this tonight, but that's okay. Also, why is no one talking about the friendship that existed between Holder and Ron Logan? It was said early on and throughout the years that Holder was staying with Logan at the time of the unalivings, as they were said to be housemates. Now, my understanding is that he just came on the weekends. Like, Brad would come down, he worked elsewhere, he lived elsewhere. Now, this is at the time of, Abby and Libby's incident. Prior to that, I don't know. Y'all would know. Um, would it be implausible to think that maybe Abby was lured there under the guise of being able to spend time with, yeah, see, this makes sense, with her then boyfriend, Logan Holder? I still believe Logan was involved to some extent, not just because of his false, meaning Ron, not the younger Holder, just because of his false alibi, but as it turns out, practically everything he said was a lie. Even afterwards, Ellie didn't go hard after RL. In fact, he was never even interrogated regarding the murders, or the unalivings. Now, I'm not sure that he wasn't. I'm not sure. But I will say this, do I think he knew something was going on or went on his property, even if he didn't have anything to do with it? I sure do. I sure do. First of all, rural, quiet, water. You hear. You hear very well. Dogs, animals, they know something's wrong, something's going on. Um, the thing with his alibi, calling somebody to make sure that he has an alibi for a certain time when nobody even knows anything has happened, yeah, extremely sus. Now, the theory that maybe Abby was lured down there, and I'm not even saying that Logan Holder knew what was going to happen, but if, hypothetically, if somebody wanted to lure the girls down there, it would have been easy for, Logan to say, hey, I'm going to be, now supposedly he was in school because they did not have a snow day, but, could somebody have used his account and said, hey, I'm here at Ron's. Could we could meet if you, come to the bridge, whatever. You know how teenagers are. You know, they do stuff like that. And I don't think anybody would have thought, even if Logan Holder did it, I mean, doesn't mean that he knew what was going to happen. That's a stretch for me that he would do it on purpose. And I don't even know the guy. But I'm just saying, at a young age, your girlfriend, that is kind of a stretch. Not impossible, of course, but it is a stretch for me. Let me see what y'all are saying. Because I am going to have to wind this up in about 20 minutes because I have to work in the morning. But believe me, there is so much, and y'all have now just got me going here. Um uh Oh, thank you, Cleo. Yeah, that would be great. If you haven't, and look, if you haven't hit the like button, please hit the like, because I forget to do it when I'm watching people's lives all the time, and even their videos. Like I'm always concerned what they're saying, but the reason that you hit the like button is just because YouTube suggests it more. So people who are interested, they can find the video, okay? They can find information. Um let's uh so y'all have vetted for me that a couple of things. That yes, Tobe did have a purple PT Cruiser. Mind blowing, especially when it was seen, and a lot of other stuff. I've heard rumors. Actually, let me stop right there with. Let me stop right here with y'all's comments, because I do have a lot more other things that were said, but I'm going to get my notes out, because I want to ask y'all, I want to ask you some questions. All right. Number one, there are two things about the search. So let's think. There are two things about the search that do not make sense to me. Again, not casting shade on anybody. I'm just saying, as a parent, I've listened to testimonies, the interviews over and over about, when the girls went missing, and, what the situation was, what the, you know, how they found out. Because, you always have to go from the timeline. The family finds out the girls are missing. Becky and Cody get in the same car, and they drive, she says, two different routes, trying to see if the girls were walking back to to Libby's house. Well, Libby's house was, I don't know, what, 6-7 miles from the high bridge? Abby's house was like a mile. So, Becky said, as this makes sense to me. Becky says, they thought when the girls weren't there on time to be picked up, did something happen? Was there an accident? Did Libby lose her phone? I mean, you're out on a hike, you're out on High Bridge, you're a teenager. Look, it can happen. It can happen in an instant. So then if, they were going to be late, if they walked further, whatever, or they needed to be picked up at another entrance, like maybe, you're thinking uh, they walked too far in one direction. They're like, I can't walk back. Whatever. 1,000 reasons why they might not have a phone. Dropped it, lost it, whatever. So if you're thinking that maybe they just started walking because they couldn't call anybody, would it make sense? Okay, we need a phone. Don't want to walk 6 or 7 miles home. I need to let somebody know what's going on. The closest thing, the closest place you could walk would be Abby's house. But yet, like, it was way, wouldn't somebody make this make sense to me? Why wouldn't you go to Abby's house first and look? Or even if you thought they were going, if you checked the two routes and they weren't there, why didn't they go to Abby's house? Can somebody make it make sense to me? Because it doesn't. I mean, I'm thinking as a parent, what would I do? What would I do? Besides panic. Because I understand when Becky said she panicked right away. That's me. That's me. In the first, 5 minutes of my daughter's not where she says she is, I'm like, ah! What happened? You know, just kids. Um, let's see. Interesting. Oh my. Uh, so yeah, does anybody have any idea? Okay, that's my first question. The second question I have, okay, let's take that off the table because I don't know, just a question. Here's another thing that disturbs me about that day that does not make sense. Okay, Kelsey drops off the girls. Derek, he's supposed to come pick them up. Let me change this again. Okay. Libby drops them off. Derek's supposed to pick them up. They know what time to be there. So somewhere in here, they don't show up on time. So Becky, who knows both ends of this, says when Derek calls her, she's upset. She starts to panic. I get that. Like I said, I get that. But I'm thinking if this happened to me, okay? Let's say one of my sons was supposed to drop my daughter off in the park. Okay, son 1, daughter. Then over here, son 2 is supposed to go pick daughter up. Well, if son 1 drops the girl, my daughter, off, and son 2 doesn't see her, she's not where she's supposed to be, the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to call son number 1, and I'm going to say, hey, did you drop off the daughter? Because, anything can happen. We're talking about a bunch of teenagers. They could have decided at the last minute, you know what, I'm not feeling it. They could have got to the bridge and said, or to the Mears lot and said, you know what, I'm not feeling it. Can we go for ice cream? Can we go somewhere else? It could happen, and then people are talking, listen to the radio, they just don't remember. Yeah, oh, yeah, we need to tell somebody. You can imagine a bunch of scenarios in your head that there's a reason that they didn't even go there. So my first question is, why did Becky call all of these other people but not Kelsey? Because wouldn't Kelsey have been the first one you would have called? Did you actually drop the girls off and what time? Like, did you know? Did you make sure they knew what time? The first thing, you don't generally, some people do. They have anxiety and they do think the worst. But wouldn't you generally call the last person that saw them and confirm that they were actually dropped off and kind of see if anything went wonky with that situation before you started? I don't know. It doesn't make sense to me. So somebody please explain to me. Is it just me? Or is it, yeah, is it just me? Am I the only one that thinks like this? Or what would y'all do? If in this situation, um, oh, very good point, Wisdom Sleuth. Uh, Digital. Abby said Abby knew she would be grounded forever if her mom found out that she was on that bridge, yet allows a Snapchat on the bridge to admit in real time that she was disobeying her mom. Makes no sense. Absolutely. You're right. Good point. Absolutely. I know. I was a teenager. This has been a hot minute, but I was a teenager. There is no way. Of course, there wasn't social media when I was a teenager, but in that situation, there is no way I would let anybody post a photo of me anywhere where my mom or any of my family could, say, yeah, you were on the bridge. Yeah, now. It wasn't me. Never happened. Very good point. Uh, yeah, me too, Steph. I would be angry if my daughter, was for being late. I wouldn't have thought something was wrong. Uh, I wouldn't have. I'll say this: I wouldn't have initially, but I'm one of those overprotective parents. So, but like I said, I would confirm. I would confirm first with the person who dropped her off. Okay, yeah, I dropped her off. Yes, she knew. Okay, well, where is she? It wouldn't be my very first reaction, but just knowing me and anxiety over my kids, it would be close. Um, yeah, I'd be mad though. Yeah, for sure. Um, somebody answer this. To Chevy, didn't Abby's mom also say she didn't know the bridge was there? I may have heard that. I've actually heard a lot of people say they didn't know the bridge was there. They lived there their whole life. Have y'all heard that? I've heard, interviews from people like, I've lived here for 40 years. I didn't even know the bridge was there. Um, here's the thing, Snow Walker. What about BP panicking saying they've got our girls or whatever? Who were they? That is a good question in light of this new information, right? I have never, and I don't think anybody else has either. That's the problem. Nobody can find this interview where she supposedly said that. Now, I say supposedly just because we can't find it. So many people remember it, I have to assume that it was said. If anybody has got a copy of that, please share it because um, I would know. I would be able to really say something. Let's see. In my opinion, the biggest red flag from the get-go was her saying to the Anthony Shots account, "Oh my God, did you hear what happened to Libby?" Oh, that's not a question of have you seen her or do you know what she's doing? Very good. Very good. Um, okay, someone else says, Cleo says, Anna knew the bridge was there, just that Abby was forbidden to ever go on it, from what I recall. Okay. Yeah, I wanna tell you one thing. Caught my daughter on the bridge, I'd have a come apart. A come apart. I would never. Not to say she wouldn't have tried it. Yeah. She's her mama's child. What can I say? But I would have had a ungodly fit. Um, Digital says no. Anna and Abby had fished and swam there before. She specifically told Abby she better not be on that bridge. I believe that. I believe that is a very likely scenario. So I don't know. I don't know. Um, I am going to be cutting short again. There's so much, and apparently so much y'all have said in chat that I need to add to this. And always I have good comments. I've got a lot more questions. All right, that was just some. Uh, like I said, I have an opinion. All right, with all this new breaking news about the Odinists, and is it possible? Again, the only thing that truly does occasionally upset me is when people say that these occult um, events, unalivings don't happen. Uh, Stop. Because if you don't know, then you don't know. All right. It's like, I don't know, what can I give in as example? Uh, it's like if you have an experience with anything, you know, let's say you have an allergic reaction to butterflies. By the way, hi butterfly. Sorry, that was not on you. It just popped in my head. Uh, because a butterfly lands on you, and everybody says that is impossible. A butterfly landing on you is not going to kill you. You know, it's not going to make you swell up. Okay, but if you are the person that has literally happened to, there is nobody in the world who is going to convince you that it doesn't happen, that it's not possible. Okay, so I'm not allergic to butterflies, but I am that person. So when you say it doesn't happen, I am going to call BS capital, because you don't freaking know what you're talking about. And I will get angry at that. All right? Enough said. If you don't know, shut up. Okay? It does happen. Unfortunately, it happens a lot. Why do you think there are so many missing children? Yes, some are trafficked. A lot are trafficked. A lot have other explanations. A lot are also victims of other things, okay? So, is it possible? Absolutely. Absolutely. But, was it staged? Possibly. The thing is, if it was staged, here's the thing. If it was staged, let's just say from the get-go, law enforcement thought it was staged, then what made you hide the evidence from the defense? Why did you just kind of sweep that under the rug? Because if there was no involvement, you should have had names, dates, times. I talked to this person, and they said it looked like this. But we can show that even though it looks like that, this is why it was not actually the Odins, but it was staged to blame them. Okay? When you discount something, forget a professor's name, pull it out of a hat, a day later, then you're part of the problem, for one thing. Then you are actually making it more suspicious. It's like you're actually saying, yeah, we know this is true, but we're trying to hide the truth. Okay, if there is nothing to see here, folks, then lay it out. Yeah. Crimes are staged all the time. We've talked about that, and how you have to discern and know what the perpetrator was thinking, why they tried to, put it off on these people. It looks bad. At the very least, in public opinion, okay, I know the courts do stuff differently. In public opinion, it makes the prosecution look bad. Looks like they're shady. All right. The defense has been out here, being very dramatic. It's a great story. It's a great defense. I just think that, sorry, my dog's making all kind of noise. I just think that now, the prosecution looks bad. Because either one, they're inept or they're lying. Neither one's looking good. Now, is that going to affect anything? Are they going to get the Franks hearing? I don't know. But I tell you what, if, and this is a big if it did happen and the judge ruled in the defense's favor, then guess what? We're done. We're done here, folks. There is no evidence against Richard Allen, because any evidence that you do have can't be, is not admissible in court. So, again, going all the way back, would Nick do this even if he knew this is how it was going to end? It's a risk, but it has the potential for a big payout too. So, look, people do what they do to further their careers. I don't know if that's it. May not have a thing to do with it, but it is a possibility, just like the Odins are, okay? All right, I am going to end it here. and go back and read your stuff. And also, yeah. So many good things. So many good things. All right. Tell me what you think. Leave a comment below. I'm probably not going to go further into this until at least Sunday, because of my work schedule. I promise you all, we will have a members only, probably Sunday evening like this, and I will put out something. Y'all tell me what you want to do. I'm going to leave the chat up just a little bit longer, even though I'm going to cut the stream will be up just so you can finish talking. And seems like there was something else I was going to say, but I can't remember. I've talked myself out. Anyway, thank you so much for being here. And again, you don't have to agree with me. I will say this. I said it earlier. I have an opinion. I've had an opinion for months, no matter what I say on here, because again, I'm trying to be balanced. I'm trying to get you to think in a balanced manner. Do I have a personal theory about what happened? Absolutely. Absolutely. I've had it for a long time. I did a little video. I was talking to a friend this week, and she's like, really? I didn't, kind of like, I didn't know you thought that. I was like, well, I put it in a video like many months ago. And she's like, yeah, I didn't catch that. I said, yeah, nobody did. Nobody. Not one person. And I'm not even going to tell you where it's at, because I could be wrong. All right? I could be completely wrong. But if I'm not wrong, I'm going to tell you at some point. Go all the way back and look at this video. You will see exactly, you read between the lines, you'll see exactly what I'm trying to say. I don't know. Right now, for all intents and purposes, I still am keeping an open mind, okay? When you shut your mind down, you know, just when you stop thinking, just curl up with a blanket, go watch something, watch something on TV. Don't watch the news. Don't watch anything that makes you think. Just be in your little happy land. I don't know, whatever. Sometimes it's better. Anyway, I hope, let's see. Thank you, Joe McFarland. I haven't seen anything from you. I wanted to make sure I got everybody, and I'm sure I've missed somebody. Thank y'all so much for being here and listening to me rant. Yeah, sorry about that. I do that sometimes. Get all worked up. Again, that's why I don't talk about Flora. Very deserving, but I don't talk about it. All right. In the meantime, what are we going to do? Whatever you do, stay safe. Especially y'all in Indiana and this craziness going on. Y'all stay safe. Stay safe. Whatever you do, stay silky. I'll see you later.